The view bashes motherhood, and also there is a lot of controversy surrounding pop culture. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again. So, today we are going to discuss the latest pop culture news, and also we are going to take away some insights. Let's go. Firstly, we will discuss about the Paris Fashion Week controversy. So basically, they dressed literally like satans and demons, and they literally looked ugly. And I don't know why people are normalizing this. Beauty is being vanished out of the industry. It is not only because of convenience, but it is because of staying further and further from God, from good values. Beauty is rooted in goodness and in truth. Both outward and inward beauty matter. So it is true that they look ugly, and that was disgusting. Earlier, Paris used to be such a beautiful fashion capital, and now look at this. Now, the second news is about the Oscars fashion. We see there is a very similar theme, but they dressed better and sensibly as compared to them. Gracie Adams dressed, very similar like a lehenga, which I think that outfit may sound like cultural appropriation. Now we'll discuss about Timothy Chalamet's ballet and opera controversy. He told that he's not interested to play in that, mainly because currently people are not interested in those things.
I don't want to be working in ballet or opera or things where it's like, hey, keep this thing alive, even though no one cares about this anymore.
And what he said was absolutely right. And the Vogue Oscars, denied him award because of that. Look, it showcases the sad state our society has gone. Art is something, whether it's of any culture, art is something which should be preserved. It is, it showcases how a culture is. It showcases beautiful messages. And good art is based on truth, on love, on justice. And if we look today, people simply want consumerism. They simply want some random products, and they want that fast-paced movies, and that's why people don't like to listen to that. Now everyone has its own choice, but I think he's reflecting a bigger picture on what our society has gone. Now we'll discuss about BTS's new album, Ari Rang. The songs are good. I didn't like some of their songs, but their song Swim was one of the best songs of K-pop, and they are really talented. And we will be discussing about the EV magazine, a conservative magazine sex issue. So they've launched an annual magazine, and there are mixed reactions. Some are saying it is really bad, but we have to understand that in conservative circles, such topics should be talked about, which are oftentimes stigmatized. Because if we are not going to give them good advice rooted in marriage, in love, they are going to listen from wrong advices like OnlyFans or one night stand type influencers. So I think that we should be taking the charge in destigmatizing and talking about these things. Good job, EV Magazine. So the hottest places for Gen Z to meet isn't the club or the opera, but the Catholic Church. The reason is because we have seen throughout generations there is the industrial revolution, and there is so much soullessness in the world, and Gen Z wants real fulfillment, spiritual longing, not the temporary cloud spirituality of witchcraft and new age, but a solid foundation in the world of moral relativism. And also the beautiful aesthetics and values of the Catholic Church attract the masses. Gen Z is actually going to become the most religious and the most truth seeking generation. And as a Gen Z, I'm so happy for that. But to convert to any religion, you have to not just get attracted to the aesthetics or for the trend's sake, but genuinely believe in the tenets and apply it. Recently, we see a very cruel law passed by the UK government that abortion can be done up to birth, and also we see that they are being used as incinerators for the fuel of the generators in hospitals, aborted babies. And this is really cruel. We see how sick our society has become. It's stripped of godly Christian values. We see a lot of rise in terrorism, in hate speech, and a hatred against what is good and what is true. And we have to, be extreme now in some cases, and we should return to God. It is murder and it should be abolished.
Back. Now we're discussing about Pope Francis' Palm Sunday controversy. So basically told that those who wage wars, their prayers are not going to be answered. And my thoughts on this is that he is, not completely wrong. He is right up to a certain extent that we should not be supporting endless wars and unjust wars. But this idea that war itself is wrong is not completely right, because in some cases, just war is necessary for preserving civilizations or for protecting the innocent people, which is approved also by the Catholic Church. Now I'll be discussing about Tucker Carlson's reaction to the Trump reel and also the capitalism socialism controversy. So he's not wrong, because the context where he's taking it is different, and these people who are criticizing him should really understand and watch the full video. And Trump's Easter post was also wrong, because he might be sarcastic. Everyone's personality differs, but you have to understand that you are leading a nation. So you have to be very careful with the words you choose. People are going to say behind your back. So I don't support the war, and we have to, for the innocent people. Now we'll be discussing about the main controversy. So The View is one of the most popular shows in America. Recently, Isabel Brown, a conservative commentator, gave a speech in Texas at the conservative event at a conservative conference, saying that you should have more children, women should get married, and sh- they encouraging children to grow up and have courage to get married, have kids, more kids than they could afford before they think they are
encouraging your children to grow up and have the courage to get married and have kids, more kids than they can afford before they think they're ready. It is high time to start. It is these choices, like deleting our dating apps and quitting
ready. And many both on The View criticized this. So Santos said that this is extremely reckless to say that people should have more children when there is an affordability crisis. And Sarah said beefs because women's worth are reduced to her having ovaries and childbearing, and feminism basically gave women a choice whether to have marriage or to have children and to have career.
birth control.
What the? What? Of course, she thinks everyone should have a lot of kids. She has a 1-year-old that sleeps all day. I think it's just reckless to be suggesting that people should have children. Maybe they're not paying my bills. You don't get to tell me what I do with my uterus.
Ultimate beef with this is that it wraps a woman's worth up in her ovaries.
And all. So my thoughts on here are mixed. First of all, if we look from Isabel's point of view, she's right, because we see that the culture in the West demonizes motherhood, marrying, having children, and in and of itself, this demonization is wrong, because children are inherently a blessing from the Lord, and have it gives you a whole different purpose. It promotes selflessness, and a good nurturing godly spirit is invoking. But we also have to understand that not every woman is called to motherhood or can be a mother. So saying that you cannot afford, like if there is extreme less amount of money and all, or if there are some circumstances, I don't believe they should have children, because we have to understand that times are becoming very difficult, and this conservative some demonization of not of those women who don't have children or pursue careers is also wrong, because we see so many times they bash women who don't get married or who choose a different path from the traditional thing. And also we have seen so much lies which the trad wife movement spreads, and there is so much toxicity and performativeness in this movement. So I personally believe that the concerns of The View are also correct, because many of these conservatives are very hypocritical while they themselves lead a boss babe lives. But I also agree with the conservative side. So I'm kind of neutral here. Men lean more conservative and women lean more liberal, not only in the West but also in India or Pakistan. So the reason is that women are more drawn towards compassion and men are drawn more towards logic. So this might be the reason. Now we'll be discussing about the Akash Singh controversy. So basically, Akash Singh is a very famous comedian in the US was married Jaslyn Singh, and you must have seen that in the past 5 to 6 months she's been making worse and worst remarks on Akash, and she's discussing about their personal life and talking sexual jokes and all, which I find is wrong, because I believe some things should be kept private and you should be very careful about how you talk about your spouse or your family members in the public world. And also this teasing and mocking, and also Akash saying that my wife was a virgin. Now here it might be mixed, because he said that the virginity was the reason he got attracted towards her, and that's, you can have those standards, but I believe that these things shouldn't be spoken in a loud way. If you're speaking in public, it should be in a silent way. But personally, I would prefer to speak those things in public. So there is no current separation of them, but I believe there must be some kind of quarrel, and it's their personal life. But I believe you should be very much careful with the social media, and I believe both men and women should be aware about their spouse, and you should have some doubt.
So recently, my birthday happened and I turned 21 years old. So finally, I'm out of my teens and adult, and I've grown up so much, and that's really surprising for me and my family. But they always supported me in this journey, and it is one of the best things which happened. And it was like for 21 years, I've learned many new things. So this year, in the past year, basically I learned a lot of my things like resilience and how to deal in different difficult circumstances, etc., which is going to be told in the final episode. But yes, it is a new journey, a new adventure, and thank you so much. And this day fall, actually Jesus was crucified on this day, so this is a really special moment. I am so glad that in my 20s I'm achieving many new things. Happy birthday to me once again.
Now we'll be discussing about the Suhoor Fest. So we see in the Western countries that there is a very popular Suhoor Fest, like Christmas markets. They are being made, and many conservative people are saying that it is wrong. It's promoting free mixing. It's promoting immodesty. So let me tell them that these initiatives which are done are really good, and everyone are not going to have 100% morals existing. So actually, this is really good, especially for those people, they have busy lifestyles and who cannot afford to make the meals. Now we'll talk about a very big thing. So Leonid Radvinsky fans dies at age 43. So he brought OnlyFans in the year 2018. So OnlyFans, as you know, is a very famous adult website, and many creators have left OF. There is, a lot of damage caused to them, fatal. They have committed suicides and so many things, and only 1% of those reaches the top million. But even though they get successful, their soul is lost, their dignity is lost, and they are, very much lacking at inner peace, because they know somewhere that they are doing wrong. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? So, we have to understand that this world is temporary. Fame and fortune aren't worth eternal separation from God. So, we have to understand that it's not wrong to have fame or fortune, but you have to understand that you should not, do such harmful things. Now, I hope that he must have repented, but we ultimately don't know. We should not be happy on his death. Unless the person is extremely bad, we should not cheer on someone's death. But we should. Now we will talk about Dhurandhar 2 and the Padda sisters controversy. So Rit Padda is basically the elder sister of Anit Padda, and she is, doing in a management career in a very big company. She is a manager regarding sales or something, and she lives in Europe. And Anit Padda, as you know, is a emerging Bollywood actress. She has done a very remarkable performance in the movie Sayara. Was emerged when, Reet Padda is very outspoken on political issues like me, and once she replied on a reel to a person who has commented saying that movies like Kashmir Files, Dhurandhar, The Kerala Story are propaganda movies. And then the guy told that he was a Kashmiri Pandit himself who has known the in and outs of the oppression in the 1990s. And she told that, you know, you even don't show your face. And this might be a fake account. And that's why she has faced a lot of backlash. Plus, she has a Pakistani boyfriend named Fazil Ahmad who is not actually Pakistani. Remember, just because someone is a Muslim does not automatically mean he's a Pakistani or a Bangladeshi. He is an Indian. So people have started boycotting Anit Padda also. So my thoughts on this controversy is that firstly, you have to understand that you are living in India. So I don't believe a person should be cancelled with differing ideologies unless he's speaking an anti-India agenda. And here, Reet is partially right. If we look at those movies, especially the seasons, there is certain amount of fakeness and certain amount of propaganda. Remember, we have to always see whether left or right is propaganda. The Yash films were also propaganda. This is also kind of propaganda, but I agree there is a too much exaggeration in it. I definitely can understand, even though those movies are good and portray awareness and the truth behind persecution of Hindus and the forceful convergence and so many other things. And Reed should also understand that Kashmiri Pandits have faced a lot bad things. So mocking this is deeply insensitive. And she also mocked Priyanka Chopra when she did not spoke free Palestine during the Oscars award, and when the guy who was with her spoke like that. Now everyone's ideology is different, and as someone who supports Palestine herself, I definitely expect her to speak, and I definitely want people to speak up against oppression. But we cannot force and suddenly this is wrong, especially when our own sister is promoting a brand which openly supports Israel. Also, we look at the Mona Lisa's controversy where she had married a guy named Farman, and people are saying that it is a movie stunt or it's a propaganda, whatever. Even I believe that's performative because she's a minor. Now, a case is filed against that. And also, she told about the Radha Krishna if he was a Muslim or a Hindu. So I believe this is really, you know, not making sense and is a weak argument. Look, she perfectly has the choice on whoever she wants to marry. That's perfectly fine. But if you're doing for a performance and that then yes, we are not going to believe you. Like her, we see many other podcasters speaking senseless things. Her, we see many other podcasters speaking senseless things. So yes, be very careful. Now we'll be discussing about Trevor Sheath's controversial post. So there are mixed reactions from Christians. Promiscuous, I was a virgin. She was then radically born again, committed to church, evangelized constantly, read books in her bedroom, journals, grief over past sexual sin, etc. So, if we look in his wife's Ashley Seed's testimony, which I heard recently, so it was a really beautiful testimony. It was really difficult to hear that. So, she was engaged in the New Age and the Eastern religious thing. Now, I believe everyone should have the choice again, but if we look, a lot of New Age ideologies don't align with scripture and they don't give complete fulfillment. And I personally had a testimony similar to that. You can check it out. I myself was into the New Age and all those philosophies which didn't fulfill me, but Christ fulfilled me. And also, I stopped doing all those things like idol worship or also yogas because the spiritual side, and now do the physical exercises, the stretching and the moving itself is not wrong, I believe. And that's a really difficult topic, but her testimony is really wonderful, and talking about these things is not at all wrong. We see so many testimonies here, and we remember the adulterous woman caught up in the well and Jesus forgiving her. So remember, his forgiveness and his love is greater than your sin. That's why he died for you. And all those conservatives are bashing them, please stop hold. No one is perfect. But I also agree that the way this post, should be spoken, it should be spoken more carefully, be discerning. Now, there are some conservative Christians and even other people who are attacking me. So, my message to them is that I don't care about what you say. Like, I may care, but I'm not going to make it my whole identity, and I'm not going to roll around it and cry. So, yes, speak whatever I want. I may err in some cases, and yes, I'm going to correct myself. I definitely get it. And if I've erred, I am sorry. But you have to understand that everyone has his or own different views, and we can, live together and coexist while still having different.
Sabrina Carpenter faced backlash when she criticized someone's yodeling in the middle of a Coachella concert. So, yodeling basically is a celebratory action done during Arab weddings, like
Is that what you're doing? I don't like it. That's your culture, is yodeling?
and it's really common even in South Asian cultures. And look, it's not wrong in and of itself in that, but Coachella is not the right place to do so. And I'm also against people who are being xenophobic and bashing others' cultures. It's not just a Muslim thing, there are Arab Christians too. Regarding Tucker Carlson's and Pope's controversies on favoring Muslims and Muslims loving Jesus, less fearful of Islam, I have mixed reactions. Firstly, we can and should be uniting with unbelievers, and Muslims have a much better view on Jesus as compared to other religion people, especially Jews. But they don't love God as much as we do, or in the completely biblical sense, because they don't believe in the divinity of Christ. So, yes, they love God, of course, but incompletely, and we should not bash hate. Asha Bhosle on 12th April passed away recently, so RIP to her. Her songs are really wonderful, and she was my favorite singer. And she was from Kolhapur.
So, thank you guys for listening to this episode. Do share your thoughts on this pop culture crisis podcast. Also, we'll look in some cases, some things. Justin Baldoni finally won the battle, which was really, really good. And also, many Bollywood celebrities are being called out for their shitty behaviors. Bye. Actions from Christians and conservatives. So he told that his wife was